In this video, I'm going to show you how to load up and record a drum rack in Ableton Live. So here I have the session I've been using in the other MIDI recording demos, and I'm going to go over to the sidebar here, the browser, and I'm going to click on the drums category, and you will see that all of these different kits come up. This is because I have the full suite version of Ableton installed. If you have like a lower version, you might not have as many kits, but you're bound to have something. You can also download and use external kits, but these are the stock kits that come with Ableton Live full suite. And I'm going to take this flight time kit here, .adg. It's a device group. It has some effects built into it. Now here's something to be careful about. If I just double click this, it's going to replace this operator pad sound. And that's because the track is selected, and you can kind of see it's highlighted. Instead of doing that, I'm going to drag this over into where it says drop files and devices here, this part of the window, and it creates another track and it loads that drum kit on that track. If I were to accidentally replace that instrument with the drum rack, and then you can see it changes the notes. It's going to sound real weird. Not the most musical thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit Command Z to undo that change, and then again I'll drag this in. So just be careful when you are loading up instruments. Are you replacing an instrument or are you adding a new track? Should be pretty obvious after the first time or two. Now let's take a closer look at this drum rack. We have some macros over here, and we're just going to ignore them in this video. And here we have a grid of 16 pads with a sample on each pad. So there's a kick, a rim shot, a snare, a clap, and I can play these if I press the play arrow, or if I hit a key on my MIDI controller. Now at this time I'm using an Ableton Push 2. You could also use a MIDI keyboard controller, or you could use your typing keyboard as I showed you in a previous video. So whenever I trigger a note, it's going to show me the sample here. Essentially what a drum rack is it is a bunch of simpler instruments, which is Ableton's like primary sampling instrument, all bundled together and put in this handy format where you have drum pads. Now what happens if you click a pad but you don't hear anything? Okay, here I am clicking a pad and I'm not hearing anything. And you can see the pad lighting up, but there's no sample on this pad. And the reason for that is that I am an octave too low. And so if you notice, there's this strip here next to the sample squares, and this shows you all of the octaves. So you can see that these 16 samples, they're just scratching the surface of what's possible. You have another 16, 16, 16. You have a bunch of possibilities, okay, to craft and create your own custom drum kits. As a matter of fact, a lot of producers will do this, and when you hear a producer that has like their own unique sound, part of that might have to do with the fact that they have taken the time and trouble to create their own custom drum kits. So if I want to add to this drum kit, I can do that. I'm just going to find an empty square. I can go to samples, for instance, and maybe I want to search for, I don't know, another clap, and then I could, you know, preview these claps. Okay, let's say I want to add that one on. I'm just going to drag it to a pad, and boom, now it's on there. And I have my main drum kit there that came preset, and now I've added this sample to it. And I could do that for all of these pads. And for now, I'm just going to delete this, but I just wanted to show you that you can create your own drum kits or add to pre-existing drum kits. I'm going to hit delete. Now the process of recording a drum pattern is actually pretty straightforward. I'm going to click this record button. It'll give me a 1-bar count off, and I'm going to use my MIDI controller to play the pattern. And there's a 1-bar pattern. It's pretty sloppy, And that is mainly due to the latency in my tutorial recording software. So from here, I'm just going to edit these. I bring them back. It's delaying me like, I don't know, a 16th note. Let's see what that sounds like. All right, it's not too bad. I'm going to show you in another video how to use some pretty powerful quantization tools included in Ableton. But for now, there's so few notes, I can just sort of quantize them manually by moving them around. And if I want to adjust the velocities, I can do that too. I could make them all the same. Might sound weird. Yeah, it's kind of mechanical, but it's all right. So that is how you record into the session view window. It's just like an instrument that's not a drum. You just hit the record button. The only difference is the notes, right? Because this kick is only on this one note, and I think it's C. It's either C1 or C2 or something like that, maybe C3. If I press a different note or if I hit a different note, it's going to be a different instrument versus a keyboard instrument where it's going to give you a different pitch of the same instrument. So that's just something to keep in mind, to keep track of your pitches and octaves. If you move a clip to another instrument, the instruments might not line up. So just something to keep in mind. So that is how you record drums in session view. In arrangement view, it's pretty much the same thing. I'm going to click this back to arrangement button here. And what that does is that puts this window in charge. And notice there's no drum clip here. So I'm going to mute this muted soft shimmer pad for now. And I'm going to go back to the beginning. And I'm just going to record that same thing in arrangement view with the global record button. There it is. Double click. Move everything over. Again, that timing on the tutorial, pretty rough there. And do some light editing. And now I can play it and it'll play. And I can duplicate that with Command D. And here we go. I'll accept my Grammy now.